You are listening to the Kentucky X-Files with hosts Dennis Mays, Tyler Stewart, and Josh Gibbs. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, so you never miss an episode. Now, on to our show.
Something that would be in the context of the supernatural.
He described it as being a gray, silver-looking, upright bipedal creature, dragging a deer out of that cave going up the hill.
Where he goes, hey, I got a question for you. He goes, do you believe in demons?
And it takes one big step and vanishes. I'm like, oh my God, that was a big thing.
And look at these pictures of this white creature.
Something 7'3" to 8 foot tall.
Right.
That, let's say it like.
And I'm telling you right now, if this was a bear, then this bear was standing on his hind legs, and he was running like a man. No, this was no bear.
Now, when it stood up, that's when I knew it was a dog then.
Welcome back, guys, to the Kentucky X-Files. I guess we have some spooky stories to tell tonight.
Spooky. Yeah, spooky.
And we have a guest. He who will be named David.
Yeah, I don't want to associate with he that shall not be named. So
No, okay.
David's fine.
David's.
So you've had some pretty interesting stuff happen to you.
Yeah, I've had plenty of stories through my life. It's up to you where you'd want to start. I told you the one earlier. That would be the most extreme thing.
Let's go with that one. Would you mind telling it again for the listeners out there?
Oh yeah. So I used to live in Latonia, and so it is the inner city. What I always thought was weird too is any kind of UFO phenomenon I've ever seen has been in the city. I've never really had much out in the country. Well, I was maybe 12. Me and a friend decided, 12-year-olds, camp outside.
Yeah.
Dialing in the radio, trying to find a station. And, I mean, just your typical UFO story, couldn't find one. And I don't remember if he got my attention or I looked up, but I looked at the tree line and you could literally see a giant triangle-shaped figure in, like, floodlights.
Yeah.
Coming across. And as this thing's rolling in, other than like a faint electronic noise, there was nothing. So, couldn't have been man-made.
Right.
Well, of course, 12, as you freak out, we run to the front of his house, and we stop at a gate, stare up so I get a full visual of this triangle-shaped object. And in the center is almost like a Knight Rider base light, like an LED, what we have nowadays.
Right.
And just remembering the detail even of the craft itself and the underbelly. But like I told you before, though, I kind of skipped out, but I have no time reference.
Yeah.
So I told you before, I don't know if it was 2 a.m. when I saw this. All I know is I stood at that gate, which felt like an eternity. I had the epiphany, hey, I have a video camera in my house. I should get it. And by the time I made it across the street in Latonia, it was 6:30 to 7 a.m.
Wow.
I found the camera, run back out. Of course, 1992 camera technology, something that's more than 20 foot away in the sky.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened to that video, nor could you really make anything out to be significant. But the problem that I've always had with it is the not knowing the time.
Yeah.
To think that something could have been altered in my memories.
So the time loss, that is a significant detail that you're, I think saying hung up is definitely the wrong term, but like fixed on.
Yeah.
The time loss is an issue.
Because to me, aliens or UFOs or any other being besides us. Our universe is too big not to believe in that.
Right.
But missing time to think that you could have been literally taken against your will. And I don't believe they would have experimented per se, but just maybe scanning to figure out what makes us us.
Right. Studying.
That's the scary part.
So this other guy, the kid that you were with, like, we won't disclose his name because we don't know if we have his permission. But like, have you ever talked to him any more about it? Or like, even like immediately afterwards, did he have the same experience that you did, like time loss?
Yeah, we went through everything shortly after, and even years after. I don't communicate with him anymore,
Okay.
but he would probably not like to be mentioned either.
Yeah,
Just
we'll
from-
leave him out, but
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's that's good that like you both had the same experience, so it shows that something did happen, or maybe not. It doesn't. It just I would just like the time loss thing is like I've heard that a lot, like especially down in that like one famous was it Stanford, Kentucky,
Yeah.
the three ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that it was like 11 o'clock, like quarter till 12, and then when they came back, it was like 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, or something like that.
I've got a good question. Knowing you like I do, knowing what kind of music you were listening to or looking for, were you listening to, by chance, what it used to be called Damnation Alley?
Was it back then? On like back?
Yeah, it would have been back then.
It would have been EBN, but I don't know if that was even.
I see. That would have given us a timestamp because when Damnation Alley was on.
Well, it was during the week.
Oh, okay.
Because like I said, Mom was getting ready for work.
Yeah.
So this would have been a Monday through
Yeah,
Friday.
Yeah,
that
it
was
would have
Sunday
been
nights.
on Sunday nights,
Yeah.
because they do it from 12 to what, like to 1 or 2 in the morning.
It was 12 to 2.
Yeah, 12 to 2.
And then there was the radio station way down in the channels, the 88 something, that from midnight to 6 a.m. plays nothing but heavy metal and death metal.
Did you hear anything on the radio, like any words that kind of stuck out that made it a little bit more odd over your experience?
You couldn't. We lost WEBN. So that, being the largest channel in that area at that time.
Yeah.
That's a significant loss, too.
So searching back through, I tried to find the Fox, anything else, because that was the back in the day of the dial radio. So a little hard to pinpoint.
Right. But it was WEBN, for anybody that's not local to us, it's the radio station actually broadcasted from maybe 8 to 10 miles away, tops from where you were.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been far.
So yeah, they broadcast from like maybe 8 to 10 miles away from the location that you were in. So to lose a major radio station at that short a distance is significant. Not only that, there's like multiple radio stations that broadcast out of Cincinnati.
Yeah, and like plus, what about this? Like, you listen to the radio often around in that area?
Yeah, always.
So like, and you've gotten clear as day WEBN. So that would be odd. Like something would have had to like, really interfere with the radio waves for that. Like, cause radio waves don't really like screw up unless you have a crappy like radio. The antenna's bent. Like there could be that, but was it like a brand new radio?
Yeah, it didn't happen before.
Yeah, it
And
didn't happen before. So yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't a struggle, all night long with the radio itself.
And it just had like, so you were listening to it for a little bit, and then it just started like scrambling. That's when you either he like said something to you, or you just looked up.
No, I actually went to the radio.
Oh, okay.
So I was the one that was like, hey,
Like
I
fiddling with
gotta
it.
have my tunes.
Yeah. Okay. Man,
There's
that's-
only so much you can do outside.
Again, like I remember that you were speaking. I feel like this is like something that we need to disclose on this too. Is that what's the actual shape of what you saw in that? And you said it was around 1992,
It was 91, 92, yes.
91,
And
92.
It was a triangle shape. I thought I said that. Sorry if I didn't.
I don't remember. I'm sorry if I didn't. I think we got offside. Like we started talking about the radio. So Yeah, like the triangle shape, like you were saying, that thing has been picked up. And another thing too is when he told us this story before we did any of the recording, Josh over here was saying it's like, I heard this like when like you were 14.
Yeah.
And this hasn't changed. So this is not a just like a fabrication, like, oh, we've been seeing the triangle shaped object.
No,
I'm just going to make it like that.
Yeah,
so
this is a story that has been the exact same for 26 years.
26 years. So
Yeah, it's not that memory that you question to think maybe a movie triggered it or something that you saw outside the realm of your own reality. This is a memory that, true to heart, I have.
That's
right. So when you saw the shape in the sky, the lights, you said there were floodlights on the bottom of it. Were they in all three corners?
Yeah, the large three were in the corners, and then
what color were they?
They were white, just
bright white lights.
Yeah, just normal LED colored lights. And one thing I don't think I did mention was it was maybe 200 foot off the ground and very slow moving.
Like how far do you think it was away from you personally?
It was literally right over my head.
Yeah, it was like, so it flew over the house. I thought you meant like you saw it off in the distance, like over some trees.
Yeah, no,
okay, that was my
bad.
bad.
The tree line over the backyard, right over top of them.
Oh,
yeah, when we
man.
were standing at the gate, it was literally staring straight up at it.
You saw definition in the bottom of the craft too, right?
And that's why I thought there was a red light at the bottom and 3 lights as well in the center.
And personally, you and like even if you remember anything of your friend, when it was over you guys, you didn't feel anything, any kind of weirdness that you can recall?
No, I can't recall any.
You heard the sound though, like the whirling of.
Oh, okay,
like a fan motor almost. That.
No, it's more like you turn your light on in your garage and it's cold. That electric hum.
Oh,
it wasn't
like a ballast.
Yeah, it wasn't loud enough to the point that you would think that is a propulsion system. It literally, like you had just the lights itself could have made that noise.
Almost a staticky sound.
Like kind of, maybe a lower hum, like humming, buzzing sound, in a way.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing.
Nothing like it didn't sound like something was like.
Yeah. And going back to it, obviously, you don't want to think you saw something that didn't exist.
Yeah.
You're constantly trying to, as we talked before about our brains proving reality, which they didn't get to hear that, but I want to know what it was. And I still have never seen nothing to this day military grade that has been declassified from that time frame that would even resemble it, nor would be able to have that speed of flight at that height.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. How did you feel when you started seeing, like on the internet, these triangle-style UFOs? Like, did that, like, just bring back the memory of that night? Like, did it actually, do you feel like it was, those could be a similar thing?
Well, we were talking, I didn't look it up on the internet until 2 weeks ago when me and Josh were talking about this. But
yeah.
It didn't, the scenario was already brought up in my head. So
Okay.
to see it and see somebody else's rendition of it and realize, damn, that is what I saw as well.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was asking. I was so like from the renditions and stuff, that's exactly almost to a T to what you saw.
Yes.
Wow, that this triangle thing is like blowing my mind,
Yeah.
especially because when did it, like that triangle one we talked about it? It was in the Antarctica.
It was in the Arctic Circle.
The Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
When was that? Do you remember?
1970, I want to say.
And
Or
that
maybe like 70, 74, somewhere in that neck of the woods. I had all that in my head when we did the show.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like that had the same triangle like style shape. Well,
Right.
I don't know if we actually. I know we kept seeing that it was flat. Then it looked like it was like cylinder shape.
Which could have been just different perspectives.
Just different perspectives, but
even then, like there was the other crafts that were in some other countries' disclosures, like the Czech Republic. There was a triangle, black triangle, with 3 lights and one in the middle, disclosed in their government, files that 2 police officers actually witnessed. I believe the Chilean one that the Chilean fighter pilot saw was also a black triangle. There's thousands and thousands.
And then we have that Tic Tac looking one that
Yeah.
we don't.
What I was going to ask is, did it affect any other sensory stuff? Like, did you smell anything, or do you remember if you smelled anything?
No, I don't have any memory really of other than just I feel like there was time lost.
Just
Yeah.
time. Okay.
Yeah.
It felt like I stood at the front of that gate a lot longer than just a minute that it would have took to actually get above me.
Right.
Wow.
What about the feeling of dread? Did you feel anything like that? Were you afraid of it?
Not really.
Just fascinated?
It was more of a, man, this could actually be real.
Yeah. That black triangle is a problem. There's lots of people are seeing it, more than I can count.
Yeah.
People from this state especially are seeing it. It's not new in any way. I mean, this, a black triangle that's as big as a building that can seemingly float across the sky.
Wasn't the
as low as
redbird
it
sighting?
was. What was it?
The redbird sighting, wasn't that also a black triangle?
It may have been.
When we were talking about the petroglyph?
Yeah.
I believe that was one of the things, a part of that midweek mystery was it was a black triangle UFO seen in Redbird, Kentucky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, it's interesting because I've been hearing all this stuff, and I can't help it. My brain has begun to do its thing, and it's bugging the shit out of me. Even tonight, I just feel a little off doing this like recording because I feel like my mind's elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's like I'm working it out. I'm working on it. We were talking about reality and perceiving reality earlier, and I started to say earlier. We decided to hurry up and set up the mics because it was beginning. Is the universe is it's atrophic. It's decaying as it expands, and I can't help but wonder if the rules are decaying as well. And since we're kind of a minuscule little planet floating around in a seemingly infinite universe, why wouldn't we be subjected to those bends in the rainbow? You know what I mean? There's little breaks that things slip, time slips, reality slips a little bit. Well, what if there's more advanced beings out there that know how to navigate them? Where they come from, it's as simple as, helm to 108. Let's go this way. There's a tear. Let's go pop through and take a look. And at the same time, we have people who seemingly vanish without a single goddamn trace in the middle of the woods, never to be seen or heard from again. The sound that's described as a giant trap slamming shut. And if you want to look that up for yourselves, you can check out David Paulides' Missing 411 series. He has a certain criteria for missing people, and although he doesn't commit to any particular theory, you can draw your own conclusions and say that, okay, something outside of the realm of what we understand is happening for sure. The other day, I told you guys this, I was driving, and the same place where the bear was spotted, and, well, what do you know, the black triangle was also spotted around there too. I was there, and something, and before you say it, it wasn't the dog man or Bigfoot, something ran across the road in the darkness, on 4 legs, not 2. I flipped on my high beams to see what it was, and I'm going towards it, maybe 35, 40 miles an hour, and decelerating. I'm slowing down, but quick enough to catch something. I hit my high beams, and my light reaches out probably 150 feet, almost 200 feet, and just doesn't seem to penetrate. I can still see the silhouette of the thing running across the street. Looked like a black dog or a black animal, but the light wouldn't touch it. And I kept thinking about that, and all day it bugged me because I kept thinking, well, what are the odds of this thing just outside of my, my light's field. You know what I mean? The field of view. And how would it stay outside of that field of view, going from left to right as I'm coming towards it? And it set off a problem in my mind and started this whole thing. And I kept thinking about it, this triangle and all these interesting creatures and things that people are experiencing, anything from UFOs to Bigfoot to ghosts. I think the rules are breaking. And I think that's why we're seeing more and more of these things every year. And more people are coming forward because something in your guts out there is telling you something it's just not right. And you're looking for someone to explain it to me. Why isn't it right? Why did I see this? Why did it change me? Why doesn't it make sense? But the fact is, there's no one out there who has the answer.
I feel like it's like to quote a movie, and I don't believe this theory. I know a lot of people like the whole simulation thing.
Yeah.
But to quote like the one part where they said that if somebody saw a werewolf or a vampire, it's something in the program that's doing something that it's not supposed to do. But we can take that whole like saying, that quote, and just apply it to the whole fact that there's things in our world that might be doing things that it's not supposed to be doing, and things are starting to unravel. Might not be the whole like construct of a simulation that we're in, but it's more like things are changing, like the world, like just like how we get older, the world is getting older too.
Yes.
And it's getting it is old. It's frail. And it's
I think that the world itself is okay as far as its, integrity, but I think that reality, the universe, the reality we perceive, I think that's where the rules are breaking. And the reason I think that is because have you ever heard the thing? It's an old quote. I'm almost thinking that it was Stephen Hawking. I could be wrong, and hopefully our wonderful fans will point me in the right direction if I am. If you can imagine it, it exists somewhere out there.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, what if all these realities are sitting in a line, right? Say there's a string going through the middle of a bunch of golden hoops, and each one of those golden hoops represents a reality. Our reality is just hanging there. And then in the world next door, apes didn't evolve the way they did here. It was canines. The world next to that, it was feline. The world next to that, it was fish. The world next to that, maybe it was apes, but it was a different type of ape.
Are you saying like it's the same? Is it like a carbon copy of like our galaxy, the Milky Way, but in a different view, or is it you think the world next door is more of we're closer to like the other galaxies than we really think that we are? Like it's the ultimate
what if. It's there's a world next door, and unfortunately for us and them, they're not safe from this same thing. So this big primitive 8-foot tall being is walking through his world, which is maybe not as developed as ours, and he's living in the woods, and he's evolving, and he's surviving, and then the next thing you know, he wanders through, and here he stands in the middle of someone's trailer park, and they see him, and they freak the fuck out. What the hell is that? It's Bigfoot. Oh my God. It's a dog man. Oh my God. It's aliens. Oh my God. And they keep going, and they vanish. Just like that.
In a way, do you feel like they vanish because they're not supposed to be here? Or do you feel like they stay trapped here until they actually find a way out? Or do you feel like they actually have
maybe
they're able to just go in and out?
I don't know. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. I mean, if you said aliens or even ghosts, I would say that maybe they would have the means to go in and out. I believe, like you, I believe that spirits are pure energy. You know, I think that they're energy. I'm sorry if I offend anyone out there, but I don't think there's anything magical involved. I think it's a natural part of our life and our death.
Well, it'd be heartbreaking, since you went spiritual or paranormal,
Yeah.
to think that someone that was killed in a horrible manner in a house is now trapped. Their
in that
soul
place.
or energy, whatever you want to call it, would be trapped in that place for eternity
Yeah.
to relive that scenario.
But it's not outside of the realm of what I think is possible. And the reason I say that is because if you talk to a person who's had an anxiety attack and you talk to them even 10, 15 years later about what triggered that anxiety attack, they're still trapped in that house. That whatever it is that set them off, it's still there, and it takes a lifetime to be free of it. If you were a person who died horribly in a place and you suddenly are pure energy and you're in that place, how hard would it be to fight your way through it? If you're made of memory now, then that memory is going to be vivid, and it will, I think it would affect you. It would twist you.
Yeah, like, are you saying, like, the longer you spend, like, in that scenario, that's why I guess you would say it turns somebody into, like, a bad, like, I guess you would say a bad spirit or a bad energy. It just, the longer it stays in that place without, like, reliving the whole thing, it just, like, warps it.
I think so, and honestly, I think that they on the other side, the silent ones, the silent majority, I think that they themselves are working on it. I think it's a work in progress. I believe that they identify problematic scenarios like that, and they what would be the right word? They mobilize. Like, okay, we've got a problem. Let's work on this, and it might take years in our time, but time doesn't work the same way over there. So for them, it's just an effort. It's just to do it.
In a way, we can only perceive time because of, like, gravity, right? Like,
yes.
Gravity, like, because we have weight, but
Yeah.
if you're energy, how can you, like, perceive time in any way?
Energy can still be affected by gravity, but it's different. We're affected by gravity more because we're physical. We have
like,
material.
matter.
We have mass.
Yeah, we have mass. We're made of matter, but energy doesn't like to be told what to do. When gravity pushes matter down in mass, energy just bends a little. It doesn't exactly go along with the ride. It's almost like it's saying, like, you push everybody else around, but I kind of do what I want anyway. You might move me a little, but I'm gonna do what I was gonna do.
Yeah, like, it doesn't, like, yeah, it bends, but it really never breaks. Like, matter is, like,
that we know of.
we can bend enough, but we break eventually.
Get therapeutic in a way. So I fully understand what you're saying there. I don't want to believe it because obviously I don't want nobody to have to go through that trauma even after their life.
Sure.
But that is the exact scenario you're describing is trauma victims.
Yeah.
It's the same way. You can pinpoint that exact location. Somebody who has been in a horrible car wreck, we'll just keep it easy and lighthearted.
Yeah.
They can remember, a lot of times the smells that were involved, the glass when it hit them,
Yeah.
And that is something you have to work through. And from what my understanding is with trauma and my experience, it's your brain's kind of like a filing cabinet.
Yeah.
And when you experience it, you just shove trauma wherever. It doesn't have a spot.
Yeah.
You don't know what to do with it. So, and your logic, that would make sense that this ghost now has to file that and figure it out. And that's why maybe locations can be haunted and then maybe not.
I believe so.
See, that's a great segue into some other stuff you've had.
Absolutely.
But another thing too is, like, what do you think maybe a person could choose to stay behind?
I think some stay close.
Like, they choose to stay behind.
I can pretty much tell you that they
I mean,
stay pretty close. Sometimes.
I mean, more of a maniacal way. A person that's, let's let's throw it out, a murderer, a person that gets off on this stuff.
I think that your murderers, psychopaths, things like that, I think that's where you're going to find your places that, I hate to say it, but to me it's going to be offensive no matter how I say that. I think a primitive way of looking at those is what we would call demonic presence or demonic sight. You know, it's the devil, it's all this. Probably not. It's probably a fucked up human being who passed away and they get off on it. They got exactly what they want. And they get it over and over again. They can fuck with people all they want. They can torment. They can cause havoc.
And just like the terrible nature of what we were just seeing, somebody that either passed away in a horrific way, the longer that they stay, the more like twisted they get because they're reliving the most horrible time of their life.
I mean, imagine the person who was... Imagine a psychopath who passes away.
Yeah.
And you imagine a victim who's stuck in a place where this person did this to them. Imagine if he found them in that place. And he gets to do this over and over again. Some would call that hell.
Yep.
You know, over and over again, this victim gets to relive that. Over and over again, this psychopath gets to enjoy that. And it takes others to fix it. We can't. Well, we can. I think we can lend our goodwill, you know, or say a prayer or whatever you want to do. Call an exorcist, you know.
I feel like, in a way, like, I know that, like, yeah, we're walking on eggshells here. I don't care what you guys believe in or anything. I feel like if you believe in whatever, it's good to have faith in something. But I feel like these exorcisms and stuff, like, I don't think it's the word of a particular god or gods. It's more of your good intentions that could help. It's your good will, your good demeanor, and you want to help let them free. I feel like that, like, it doesn't matter if you believe in God, like gods or gods like of that nature. It's just your goodwill nature that you want to help. I guess that in a nutshell, I feel like your words are, I guess, the weapon to help to combat these evil forces that could happen.
It's like when someone says to you, you know, if you're sitting there and you're a total atheist, and someone says, "Hey, you know what? Bless you and bless your family." It's not an insult. No. It's literally just goodwill.
Yeah.
And I think that's.
And I would never throw some, like, I know some people would, and I feel like I was there when I was younger. But
yeah, but everybody was an asshole when they were young.
Yeah, everybody had their dark days.
Yeah.
But now, like, if somebody said that, I'd probably would say something along the lines of, like, I wish goodwill on your family too. Like, I would return the favor because they went out of their way just to, even though that they either don't know, or, like, if you don't know me, you're gonna just assume that maybe this person doesn't, especially if you stereotype.
Absolutely.
Like, and plus, like, but they still went out of their way to give goodwill to your family and bless your family. And I feel like that's all we need. It's just good faith.
Good intention.
Good intentions and goodwill.
Speaking of good intention, you're the shadow people. I've always been under the suspicion that the shadow people are a good thing. They're different. Obviously, they're much different because I know we talked a little bit about it earlier, and I'd love for you to tell us a lot more about them. But my first real encounter that I can remember with what I considered a shadow being was at the Fort Thomas Armory, and I had a friend with me, and it was just me and him, and we were like, dude, let's go to these places that are haunted. Let's take pictures. Let's film. You know, let's see if we find anything. And we took pictures everywhere. And almost every picture that we had developed. I know nowadays people are, what's that? But back then you would drop off your film to Walgreens.
If you were
Where's
lucky, you get
Instagram?
it back in an hour.
Yeah. And they would
about
develop
Instagram?
your that wasn't even a thing.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's crazy.
The internets were barely a thing.
And we would get our film back in a big envelope full of pictures, and we were sitting there, and there's this shadow figure that followed us all around the armory, everywhere we took a picture, and being just geniuses of titles, we literally named him Mr. Shadow or Mr. Black, and we kept saying like, wow, Mr. Black's he's really showing us something today. And we went back, a week, 2 weeks later, we went back again and did it again, and sure as shit, everywhere you went and snapped pictures, there's Mr. Black. He's there. But nothing bad ever happened to us. There was no bad feelings. There was no nothing. He was just there. And I couldn't help but think, like, wow, how old is he? And how long has he been like this, that he's actually able to show himself? Even though it's a shadow, he's clearly bending light somehow. Maybe he's evolved. Maybe he's become stronger. Maybe he's whatever. How long before, or maybe even right now, how many of these spirits have went past the shadow? How many times have you been walking somewhere and walked right past somebody, and they might have been one of these beings at one point? How long have they been working on it?
Yeah, you get the chills, that feeling.
Yeah, something's off here. You said that you had dealings with not dealings, but experiences with the shadow people living in your, did you say your current home?
Yeah, they're in my current home. In my wife's bedroom, we don't have kids, so
Okay.
we split our living room. But if I'm walking down the hallway in the morning and I'll see a shadow behind a chair that's in her room, and it'll move opposing to my movement. So it's not my shadow because it's not following me. It's going away.
Okay.
So it's actually ducking behind something. But that goes back to your energy that you were speaking of. I mean, positive energy, prayer,
Yeah.
positive energy. If they had no ill intent, then why would it do more than maybe just want to pop up for a picture, or just go, oh crap, you might see me, and duck
Right.
behind something?
Right.
Because you wouldn't want to be seen. It'd be kind of...
Yeah, I mean, there's always that. I mean, that they're watching, trying to see, trying to.
I feel like, me personally, if it's those types that kind of scurry away, it's more like they want to they want to experience the family life again. Like they want to be a part of a family, and they see a couple or a family if you did have kids or something of that nature, and they're just standing there. They don't care, they're not harming anything. They just want to stand there and just remember those
With
those
me,
days.
with me, I often wondered, because I've seen the shadow people, the figures, the corner of your eye you turn, and
Yeah.
what the hell was that? I often wonder if they even were us at one point. What if they never were people?
Like, what if they are a race of being?
What if they're just coexisting?
extension of ourselves? Is that what you're saying? Like
Possibly. I mean, anything besides.
like a past life,
Or what?
maybe
There's
appearing.
a name for that.
Or what he was saying, the Sasquatch, the other worlds beside us, they're just coming over.
Or even
just-
what if the another dimension of this life exists, but instead of being next door to each other, we're directly on top of each other.
Yeah,
So it's just something bleeding through.
or in a way, you're the shadow to that person.
Yeah.
What if
And
you're
he's
scared
running,
now?
that person is running away on the other side, and they're like, what the hell? It's so you would be considered, his, wherever you're, our realities, intertwine,
Yeah.
You could be in the smack dab. Your living room or wherever that is could be in the person's bathroom. And just runs away.
It could be the positive and negative of each other. Like they're just running together.
Yeah.
You know. And
I mean, there's a basis for that. I mean, that's the scientific, basis is that there's always going to be, polar opposites. There's always going to be a positive and a negative, right?
Well, I really liked I never thought about the multiverse level like what you put it just now. Most people, the Mandela effect, that's a big thing that everybody believes in, and these alternate universes, and we're bouncing around. There's another theory that I saw a while back about the fact that, some people feel like they may have died, but then you woke up, that maybe you jumped. Actually, you did die in a different universe, but you jumped into a new one.
Yeah.
The same scenario. But I really like how you put that with like Bigfoot or aliens or Dogman or
walk-ins.
That is from that exact timeline, and somehow it just jumped into ours for that split second and went, what is going on?
I believe sometimes we accidentally slip over there too,
which might also intertwine with what we were just talking about with the shadow people.
Yeah,
because I've never had a negative experience with seeing. I mean, it feels weird even just calling them shadow people, but with the shadow figures, I've just seen them a lot.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that's ever been malevolent. It's always just, it's there, then it's gone. So what if maybe that is exactly what it is they're seeing us, we're seeing them, there's a tear in between the two dimensions or universes or whatever.
Yeah, but we don't see the tear.
We don't see the tear. We just see, it's like throwing the blinds up on bathroom glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The light comes through. Anything outside the glass close to it you can see, but anything 5-10 feet away you don't see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I had some like a random theory that I wanted to say something, but I'm sorry, David, if this like freaks you out a little bit. What if because this whole energy thing, because interstellar travel, we always say like if these beings are far away, like the forces to get here would take like it would squish, like you get what I'm saying, like fat, like going like what's the like Mach, like the highest speed that you could go before your body just starts to go to mush. So I don't know.
I don't know, but I understand what you're saying.
But yeah, like so you were saying that some of these beings could be energy, like because the gravity and forces wouldn't really. Maybe this whole like loss of time could be like them actually pulling your energy from you, and that's where you get like glimpses of the ship, of them like working on you or something like that, because like some people come back and like they don't have anything physically really wrong with them, but they said that they saw things and this and that. Maybe they're actually pulling the energy that's actually, maybe we're something like them, but they actually evolved to that. So they're pulling that, and that's why we're losing that time.
The only major thing that bothers me in regards to an interstellar race coming here, and it has for quite some time, and as much as the science fiction nerd inside me wants to believe that there's aliens on the other side of the universe and they're traveling all the way here to see us, the problem I have is human self-importance. If they're traveling from the other end of the universe, they're much bigger than us, physically bigger than us. Their ship is going to be much, much bigger than anything we can perceive. I'm talking, they're probably flying in a ship the size of our sun. They're big.
You would
because you have to be.
You want a why? Is that what you're
why
searching
would
for?
Why would you travel all the way here to look at something that would be like a dust particle floating around in space to you? Imagine.
But would we do it? That's the question. If we had the capability, because we can't travel past the speed, we can't even get to the speed of light, the fastest thing we know currently. If we could go there Like, I don't know, the moon, Mars,
And
other planets, would we go there to explore?
the problem is atrophy.
Where most humans have ill intent.
Yeah. I think
because
that atrophy would be your biggest issue, because even if you had a ship that size and you were physically that big or whatever.
Do you mean big in stature or big in
mean,
species?
Just think, 5 heads and 18 toes or whatever you
Oh,
want,
okay.
and they're massive, the size of a building, because they have to be, because to travel that far, scale is a huge importance. A person our size, you put us in a ship and shoot us across the universe, we're never gonna survive that.
Mm-hmm.
We're too frail. We're too small. We're too minute. But something big, he can do it. He's strong. He can go a lot farther than us.
But
Except for he can't slow down.
Well, then the only thing that would shoot that in the foot is the ability to fold time.
Fold time and space.
If you could fold time, create your own wormhole,
Yep.
then none of that would apply.
Exactly.
But then, like, that goes, like, I know I'm going back to movies and stuff, but we don't know what we're crossing into. Like, what is that empty space to get onto that? Have you guys ever seen Event Horizon? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you create something, we never been in a black hole, so you're technically making yourself a gateway to another side. It's not like the game Portal. Like, you shoot one here and shoot there, and you walk around. It's literally you're warping something and you're crossing over and then getting to that other side. So there's something in between those. So there has to be something. Like, it could be, like it said, pure chaos.
you want to know the real thing that fucks with my head the most?
What?
Like Josh said, folding time and space is the most viable option.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't fold time and space without affecting time and space. So if you're a visitor coming here to see us and you've folded time and space, well, there's side effects, and we're going to experience them.
Which could be time loss.
Or
Which could be
the
time
Mandela
loss.
effect.
There you go.
Or what you're talking about older universes and things jumping back and forth. All that could be
Yeah, because
tied
there's
into that.
Yeah, just because it's an alternate universe, if it's right next door, it's still obeying the same principle. The string is still connecting all the hoops.
And what if, like, people are experiencing side effects of the folding of time and space and don't even realize it?
Exactly.
Like the shadow people or ghosts, poltergeist, things that could be happening that we perceive as a haunting.
Yeah.
Just reminded me of something.
It's kind of like you were saying about the string with all the realities. If they if the realities are hanging on the string, and you say you're right here, you twist that string and then you let it go. There's going to be a ripple effect that starts to happen.
Yeah.
With everything. So I get where you're coming from on that. I didn't think about that. I was more concerned of going into the nothing.
Well, what if
and
there
then coming out.
What if there isn't a nothing? So, with that idea, when you're folding it, you're not making them touch. What if this end and this end actually physically touch, and all you're doing is splitting the tear?
I just don't
There
know.
you have
I don't know. I guess would that be quantum quantum theory?
Probably going into the realm of quantum physics.
Yeah, quantum physics. That's why I was I don't know that much about quantum physics. I wish I do.
So, but getting into some of the paranormal stuff, touching back on it, the shadow people you're seeing at your current residence isn't the first experience with something like that, is it?
No, I've had several unexplained scenarios happen in my life.
From a young age, too, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much as far as I remember. Some houses no, so and that's the thing too. Does it follow us?
Right.
Is it actually something that cared for it? We don't know none of this. You don't know if you can go back and forth. You
Right.
don't know, or you're stuck here forever.
Yeah, I had the same thing because this was weird. There was a time when I was, I want to say, early 20s. I have that feeling that something was following me, and every once in a while I would see a black, it looked like a black hooded figure just like just walked into my the side of my. Every time I always chalked it up because I had long hair then. I kept thinking it was my hair getting my face, but sometimes it looked too vivid out of the corner of my eye to be just my hair. So, and I remember then I moved out for a while and I went to this house. It was an old house and it was in Newport, and I remember constantly just sitting in the front room. And my room was right to the left. It wasn't I turned the light off, but I left the door. It was a double door. And I would constantly just see something walk from, the wall into the room. Constantly. And I was just what the fuck is following me? I actually did have some kind of, weird, dreadful feeling for a long time. And now, I left the place. I don't recall any more of it, but I had it before I got there, so I don't know what it was.
Right.
So, and I'm such a skeptic, so I always bury these things because I always chalk it up to be something else, and I'm trying to figure things out. But I remember when I saw it at the house, I looked up the history of the house, and apparently there was I can't remember what year, 80s, 70s, or something like that. There was a cop that lived there, and he got gunned down outside of the house. So I was but then I kept thinking, I was why could it, why would it be him haunting, if that was haunting the place, if I saw it beforehand, before I got to the house. So that's that's my little shadow story. I just never understood that.
Now, the funny part with that room in particular that I'm speaking of with my wife, she is a complete 110% does not believe in any kind of spiritual ghost-related
Has she seen
stories. I don't know if she's seen the shadow person, but the instance I'm going to talk about, this happened to her. I was not home.
Mm-hmm.
So I was getting ready to go to work, and we were in a mild argument.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I left a little upset. She was a little upset. Well, we have this picture a friend of ours got made, which is a drawing of our wedding photo. It hangs in her bedroom. Now, it's been there for years. It's secure. Nothing came off the wall, nothing like that. She said that picture literally leaked off the wall and landed about 3 to 4 foot away from the wall itself. Now, mind you, there is a bookshelf underneath it. So it cleared this bookshelf.
And you live in a house, not like a townhouse?
We live in a regular home. It's not that old. And that's...
Okay.
I don't think it attaches to a house. Obviously it could.
Yeah.
It's energy. I don't understand it. I could just tell you what I've seen or experienced, or people close to me that I trust have seen or experienced.
Gotcha.
So she lost it, freaked out, ran out the house looking for me. And she got a hold of me. But the fact is, for her to admit that it was something strange that hasn't happened again, or the fact that it made it feet. Yeah, I hope that was in the recording. Feet from bookshelves, no damage done to it, glass pitcher, and it was fine at a heat of an argument. It's kind of like, and that, like I said, that's where I see the shadow person. So for all you know, this could be, like I said, we don't know what's past our reality. And you get into, say, near-death experiences, what your brain, I've had something similar. I want to rationalize that to the G theory that astronauts experience when they're in that chamber. Once they go limp, the blood leaves your brain, you hallucinate. But we don't know, and that near-death experience I had was so vivid. I mean, this was as real as me and you. So we don't know what's past our life. No one's came back and told us.
Yeah.
So these theories or theses that people have, you really can't discredit them. And the fact that a lot of them tie together is just, it's mind-boggling.
The one thing that I, like you were saying, we haven't heard anything about anybody coming back and telling us about, we don't know what's after this, on the other side, after death, or any of that. What I get so much is there's these people that would say that they had those near-death experience, they actually died, and they said they saw angels and stuff of that nature. I hope that they did, but then you would if they actually saw those things, why does mediums? I know a lot of mediums will say they can't tell them about the afterlife, but these people that had those experiences will come back and say they saw angels, they saw God, or they saw the heaven or something of that. But mediums that are like, so who's not telling the truth? And I'm not trying to call people out on this, but it's a thing that we need to talk about. Is like, is somebody not giving us all the information? Are we missing pieces of this?
I don't know, man. I think most mediums are, I mean, I'm just going to say it, are cash grabbers.
I feel like ones that are
I think they're hoaxes.
like they actually like ones that go for money and stuff. But I feel like there are people that have like some type of link to, like they could have some type of link to the like afterlife.
We'll look at Houdini. I don't know if you know the story about him. He gave his wife a word that is in an envelope that only she knew. And he told her, I believe it was every year, to do a seance to try to bring him back. And if that medium said word, she would know it was real. And that never happened. And I've heard of other instances of people doing similar things and nothing happened. But I will tell you, I don't think I had a near-death experience because the procedure I was having, I shouldn't have been close to death. But when I went out, like I said, it was as real as me and you. I was in a concert venue, completely white, not a big Jimi Hendrix fan. Some odd reason Jimi Hendrix was up there playing guitar. And I'm a musician, you know, most of us are. Well, all of us are.
Everybody at the table is
How did he sound?
Just as good as you would imagine Jimi Hendrix would sound live.
To be perfectly honest, I would be okay with that. Like,
But
not a big Hendrix fan myself either, but that would be cool to watch.
The weird part was there was a drum set on stage. I approached the stage, made it to the steps. He extended his hand. Now, when he extended his hand, I woke up and they code blued me at the hospital. I had like 20 doctors around me. They still don't know what happened. They just, okay, you're good. You know, get out of here. I didn't want to experiment with it. But
you were walking the line.
That's the weird part because, like I said, it was just as detailed as me looking around this room right now.
Yeah.
Was there anybody in your like family-wise that actually was really into Jimi Hendrix?
Not that's passed.
I was just like trying to like some kind of fond memory of somebody could have.
I think
triggered.
He walked the line.
That's just
He made it to a spot that didn't belong to him. It might have been Jimmy's. When he extended his hand, it was probably just being courteous. Come on up, let's play. But you couldn't because you're alive. You can't stay. You can't commit to it because it's not right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming with that. He's no matter what, like, I guess that's like with people that say that like the whole going towards the light and stuff. It could be how do you call these these people, not spirits, or what do you call how do you call them?
I call them the great majority.
Yeah, the great majority.
There's a lot more of them than there are us.
They're showing the light. They're trying to tell you like, hey, just it's okay. Like good intentions. Just like how everybody with any of their religion or good gestures, they're doing the same thing for you. Just trying to tell you, like, if it's your time, come on. Like, they're giving you a helping hand to let you know that it's okay.
Yeah.
So, and you can call that heaven or whatever you want to call it. I feel like that's what we're getting at, is that all of these things, all these, like, I guess if you want to call them spirits or any kind of spirit or religion, we're all talking about the same thing. Like, that's all I feel like we all want, just the goodwill of people in the afterlife.
We're a creature that builds. Mm-hmm. I mean, are we not?
Yeah.
Josh, you're a guy who builds
for a living. Yeah.
You build for a living. You know, you make things happen. We all make things happen in our own lives on many different levels. You know, whether we're working hard to pay off a house, or I'm building a deck this summer off the back of my house. Blah blah blah. We're building towards our lives. That's what we do. We build with our lives. We make things happen. So to me, it's not crazy to think that they over there, they build, they make things, they continue perfecting the things they did in life. He sounded as good as he ever did because he's not stopped.
Yeah.
He's never stopped once, and he's never going to.
Stay tuned for next week's episode for the rest of this conversation.